Hey, good morning, friends. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Chat with Ryan Frank. Thank you for joining me. We are in for a great coffee chat today. You're going to hear from Esther Moreno. You're going to hear from my good friend, Trey Brooks. We're going to talk about what's going on in children's ministry. We're going to talk about the importance of being an adaptable leader. We're going to talk about the importance of staying networked and connected. Staying networked, that's a word, networked and connected to other leaders, which is something that Trey Brooks is passionate about. Thank you for joining me. If you're catching this on the podcast today or on YouTube or on one of our Facebook pages or groups, I want to thank you for joining us. As always, you can text the number on the screen, 833-792-6372. If you have a question or a recommended topic, something that we talk about. Just wrapped up a recording, the next episode of the Kids Matter podcast with Corey Jones. We recorded that podcast this morning. That will release on Thursday. Thank you for your support of the new updated Kids Matter podcast. This is episode 50 this week, episode 50. So we're celebrating this milestone together. Hey, I look forward to seeing a lot of you tonight. I am joining my friend, Esther Moreno, on one of her webinars, and I'm pumped. Esther, I am pumped. Thanks for having me.
I know. I'm so excited to have you on. How are you doing, Ryan? I see you had that Lucy's coffee.
Oh man, you know it's good. I stopped this morning. I got my Lucy's coffee. I got my truck washed. It's good.
I have to tell you that about this webinar tonight, you guys. I want you to know about this webinar, but let me tell you, I'm trying something new, Ryan. Can I tell you what I'm trying?
Yeah, what is it? What is it?
I'm trying intermittent fasting because I try to look for whatever I can so I don't have to work out. That's kind of like
I'm good with that. Yeah.
So I'm doing that now, right? But then I'm super hungry. This is terrible. So I have this wacky dream yesterday of Nation MegaCon, right?
Yep.
It's all virtual. So you decide to send assistants for each speaker to their homes to help them.
Is this a true story? You really thought about this?
Dream last night. This is the true dream I had last night.
Okay, all right.
My assistant is Yancey's husband. He comes in. My house is trash. This is completely last minute. So then he says, hey, I decided to bring Yancy with me. Come on in. And she is so disturbed with how my house looks that she began to get on her knees and she's scrubbing the floor.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious?
I know. I'm going to have to quit this intermittent fasting. I think I'm going to go get a burger after this.
That is awesome. And isn't it great? You wake up and you're like, where the heck did this dream come from? And they seem so real, don't they?
It was crazy, but I'm so pumped tonight, Ryan, to have you for this webinar. We are talking about being an adaptable leader. Ryan, you are like the most adaptable leader that
I don't know. I know this, Esther. I'm pumped you asked me to talk about this because the minute you think you've got it all figured out, you are in big trouble.
Yeah.
And now I am so proud of the KidMin community. Everybody's talking about pivoting and how you've had to pivot. And that's a lot of what being adaptable is about, is pivoting. And so many of you KidMin leaders, you are pivoting. But I'm telling you what, if you don't learn, I hope that if there's anything we've learned through this pandemic, it's the importance of pivoting. And once we get through this, if we get through it and what the new normal looks like, none of us know. I hope that people will always remember, pivoting is not something that should just happen during a pandemic.
Absolutely.
I've got to be learning from other people. It's one thing I love about you, Esther, because I follow you online. You are always learning from other people. Dang, I forgot. I left it on my
Ryan, you are always hosting stuff and doing amazing things. And I was like, man, I want to get Ryan Frank in the hot seat. And I just want to suck all those nuggets out.
Now I'm going to be nervous. The hot seat.
I'm going to suck them out so that we can really know how to adapt. Because, oh my goodness, you've been crushing it this season. I'm just so excited that you said yes and that we are doing this together. It is going to be an amazing night. I'm already ready. I just prayed. And I know God's Spirit is going to come in and reach so many leaders because it's been a difficult season for a lot of us.
It has been.
when it comes to pivoting in the midst of this pandemic. A rug has been ripped up from underneath us, and we've been forced to change so fast our methods. And you're right, how we have to pivot sometimes in ways where it seems next to impossible.
Oh my gosh.
So yes, I'm
So
super.
let's get tonight. We are tonight going to get, and I know Esther, you and I have talked about this preparing for tonight. We're going to get super into the micro and practical. Like, what does this look like for me in my ministry context? So Andy's got the link. He's going to drop it into comments. But for those listening on the podcast that don't see a link, where do we go to register for this tonight, Esther? Tell us the time and all that stuff.
www.childheart83.com /resources. Go there. Follow me at childheart83 on Facebook, you guys, and you will see all the information you need. It's going to be a great evening. So make sure you grab your hot tea, your notepad, your tablet. Take notes, because you are going to leave this thing being an adaptable leader like Ryan Frank.
You're too kind. Okay, Child's Heart 83.com. Yes. Once they get to that page, they'll see where
you'll find the webinars and all that.
You'll find it. Okay, get ready. And this happens at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central.
It's 7 p.m. Central. So it's 8 for you. So
8 for me. Man, that helps me actually. And I'm glad we talked about that. I was thinking it was 7 p.m. Eastern. Now that we have the entire audience confused, it's 8 p.m. Eastern.
7 p.m. CT.
7 Central. 7 Central.
Yes.
All right, I love it. Esther, can't wait to see you tonight. Keep up the great work. Love you. See ya.
See ya.
All right, love to have you tonight, friends. Go to childsheart83.com. We're going to do, Esther's invited me on her platform to her webinar. We're going to talk about the adaptable leader. I'm going to talk to you about some lessons I've learned the hard way in my life when I did not adapt. I'm going to talk about why it's so easy for me now to adapt. I'm going to talk to you about people I'm learning from, and it's going to be a good conversation. Would love to have you join me. Several years ago, I met a kids pastor named Trey Brooks. Trey was a kids pastor in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Just about 45 minutes from Kids Matter HQ here in Marion, Indiana. Trey, was that your first children's pastor job in Fort Wayne?
That was my first position.
Now, I forget, is Fort Wayne home for you? Like, were you born?
No, Arkansas is home for me.
Arkansas.
I was. I had never actually, when I got the call to come to Fort Wayne, I had to Google it because I had never heard of it before.
And when you Googled it, you probably found that Fort Wayne has per capita more churches than, I think, like any city in the United States.
Right. And Bob Evans.
Yeah, that's right. There are more churches and Bob Evans in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And there are literally statistics. I know in Indiana, I think even nationally, I don't know if it's the number one, but there are a ton of churches in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I met Trey Brooks. Trey was a children's pastor at a great Nazarene church in Fort Wayne. We started to network, had lunch together, and became friends. And Trey still calls me his friend. I still call him his friend. We text each other from time to time. We get coffee when he's in town. And Trey, I want you to tell us a little bit about your ministry to children's pastors. And God has really given you a heart for, especially for your denomination and networking. Tell us about that. And then I want to springboard off that and talk about what that looks like for each one of us.
Okay. So about 5 years ago, my wife and I felt that God was calling us out of the local church and to do a ministry for equipping children's leaders. And we didn't really know what that meant. I actually called Ryan. I called Ryan to see about how Kids Matter happened. And I called a guy named Delvon Sagan to talk to him about how Children's Pastors Conference and INCM and all of that. And so we just really felt that God was calling us to serve children's leaders, especially in our denomination, but all children's leaders. And we took a step of faith and resigned our position and just began to figure out and find the way that God had for us. We had started an event.
Now, hold on. Let me interrupt real quick.
Sure.
Because I want to get to this while it's still fresh. You called Dale Von Sagan. Dale, those of you that have been in kids ministry for very long, you remember Dale Von Sagan. Went home to be with the Lord a year or two back, but founder of One Way Street, and just really a pioneer of children's ministry back in the day. Was he an encouragement to you early on?
He was, and what's cool about Dale Von Sagan is one of his very first children's ministry opportunities to share was in Marion, Indiana.
That's right.
At the campground there.
That's right.
And I had a connection with him that was really awesome.
Through the camp. I remember, and I thought as a young kids pastor like you were, they used to hold I forget what they call it, the National Magicians Conference for Christian magicians. They would hold it at Indiana Wesleyan in Marion. And I caught wind that Dale Von Sagan was going to be there. And I remember asking him if he wanted to meet for coffee. And it's funny, he wanted to meet at Bob Evans. And I'm telling you what, I felt like I was flying in such high skies having coffee with Dale Von Sagan. Man, heaven's a lot richer because Dale Von Sagan's there for sure. And I think that's neat that's part of your story. That's a rabbit trail, but because both you and I have that connection of Dale Von Sagan encouraging us early on. So you took a step of faith 5 years ago. We're going to leave church work as far as local church staff. We're going to take some steps of faith because you wanted to do what?
We wanted to provide equipping for the local church. Partially where this came from is while we were on staff in Indiana. I took a group of children's pastors, mostly pastors, to a national conference. And on the way back, it just really sunk into me that most of our local churches didn't have vocational children's pastors. And so how could we provide equipping for them? So we started this event we call Spark, and it's an equipping retreat. And so out of this Spark event, God just really began to grow this call to equip leaders in the church. And at the beginning, when we felt this call, I'd only been in ministry for 3 years, and I said to God, I don't even know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. How am I supposed to equip other people? And as I learned, what Spark is, our equipping event, isn't me teaching anybody. It's pulling people together who teach each other. Mm-hmm. And so I get to participate in that. And so Spark just grew. And 5 years ago, we stepped out. This year, we had 17 of those planned across the U.S., and we had one in Canada, and we had one in Spanish down in El Paso. A bunch of those got canceled because of COVID. But our call to equip leaders never changed throughout this whole thing. And so we had to figure out, like you were saying, of pivoting. Mm-hmm. What does that look like for us? We're typically on site. We drive there. We are with the people that we get to serve. And so we have learned ways in the last few months to continue to live out our call to equip leaders, even though it looks way different than we could have. There's no way we could have imagined this.
I love it. I love it to hear God's story and how God is using you. I know you agree with me on this, that being networked and connected to other leaders is monumental and imperative as a children's ministry leader. You don't want to go at it alone. This is something you're passionate about, isn't it?
Right. I feel like sometimes as children's leaders, we feel like we are literally in the basement by ourselves. Yep. And so if we who get to serve the local church like you and I do, yep. If we can help people understand they're not alone. At Spark, we have a saying that we start everyone with and we end everyone with. We say we are one team, mm-hmm. On different districts and from different cities, but all called to serve God, children, and their families. So we're a team. no matter what.
Trey, you and your wife took a step of faith, leaving a church staff position where you're getting a paycheck every week from the church, and you just followed because you really sensed God calling you to do this. What would you say to someone out there who really senses God leading me to do something, but I'm little uncertain? There are, I don't know exactly where the funding's going to come from, where my paycheck's going to come from. I don't know what it looks like. What would you say to just encourage them in the journey to help them take that step of faith?
Yeah, I think the first thing is we have to, and our process through that is we really begin to pray about it, right? First, we got to make sure that this isn't some crazy idea that we have dreamed up, that we need to step back and we need to focus on, is this really what God is asking us to do? Then I think the next step is to find mentors and people who can speak into us truth, like, hey, I have this idea, and they're going to be the ones that say, hey, that's crazy. They can affirm in us that they could see that happening. They can pray along with us. They can say, man, that's crazy, but we'll pray with you. And we feel like God is leading this way as well. And so making sure that we're getting it right, not just here. I'm a dreamer. I can dream up ideas all day long because that's just the way my brain is wired. But pulling in those mentors who can speak truth to us and help us walk that journey.
That's huge. Final question for you, Trey. You're passionate about connecting leaders with each other and networking and so on. What would you say to someone out there who's like, man, I really do feel alone right now? Maybe they're serving in Timbuktu, Arkansas, where there's no network that they know of. Or maybe there are other churches around, but they're not really connected with any other leaders. What would you say to someone who feels alone?
I think the first thing is I would say you're on the right path if you're listening to this.
That's good.
You have stepped out and you have searched for some community to be a part of. And so I would say an encouraging word to you, first of all, is you've made the effort. You're walking that path towards that. And then I would say another way is to figure and follow there's so many wonderful children's ministry resource providers like Esther and Kids Matter and INCM and D6, all of these people who are creating community, maybe not creating it, just pulling community together.
Yes.
So that you're hearing affirming word, hop on webinars, listen to the Facebook Live thing so that you hear other people. And then if you're able, and when we can begin to meet again physically, find a conference to go to. There's a lot of awesome conferences that you can go to, and you can sit with people across the table at a mealtime, even if you don't know them, and just say, hi, my name is, here's what I do. And in those meetings, answers to maybe some of your issues, or maybe you'll find out you have answers for other people as well, that we're in this together.
I love it. Trey, you're always such an encouragement when you speak. God uses you. How can we stay connected to what you are doing? Maybe there are some churches, some leaders that would like to connect with you. I'm sure we've got some Nazarenes listening today. Shout out to the Nazarenes. If you're not connected with Trey and everything he's doing, you definitely need to be connected with Trey and what he's doing. You have the best way to connect you on Facebook, a website. What's the best way to connect?
Yeah, our website is equip2engage.org. Our Facebook page is Equip to Engage. It's a little yellow square with two little E's.
Nice.
That's us. You can email me, Trey, Trey, at equip2engage.org. All of those sorts of ways are ways you can.
I love it. We'll put those links in the show notes. The equip2engage.org. Also look up Equip to Engage on Facebook.
Yes,
Trey, thanks for joining me. We've been trying to do this for a week or two, and we figured out a day.
Yes.
I'm so glad you jumped on here. Keep up the great work, friend.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
You're awesome. All right. Thanks a lot. See ya. Go check out equip2engage.org. Trey Brooks is the real deal. Loves Kidmin leaders, loves the Lord. And I promise you, if you emailed him with a prayer request or a question, he will reply. and pray with you and give you feedback on whatever you're wrestling through. That is Trey's heart. He is legit. Go check it out. Friends, before we wrap up the coffee chat, I want to remind you, Global Kidmin Day is around the corner, August the 8th. Now, because of the pandemic, we have different options for you so that you can participate in Global Kidmin Day. Some of you will try to do Global Kidmin Day on August the 8th. Some of you are going to reschedule for a month or two later, and that's totally fine. Prior to this pandemic, we were hoping everybody would do this on August the 8th, but we have created multiple options for you to gather in person if you're able, to stream it out, to share the link, or a mixture, combination of this, that, or the other. Look at all the options at globalkidminday.com. Every day, churches around the globe continue to register. We are bringing conference quality training for your children's ministry team. This is a video-driven event. It's not live. So 10 days in advance, which is next week, you will receive an email to download the whole event. So all you need for Global Kidmin Day is the file and your computer and a screen or Zoom or the link to share with your team. Again, multiple options. I hope that you'll participate. We have a stellar lineup of speakers, and I'm super pumped about what all they have shared. globalkidminday.com. Thanks for joining me today on the Coffee Chat, friends. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time. If you are able to join Esther and I tonight, Esther has invited me to join her on her platform, 8 p.m. Eastern. Go to childsheart83.com, childsheart83.com. Friends, we will talk to you soon.